Hi everyone, my name is Ada. You guys might know me from my previous video where I shared my rejected art portfolio for the entire world to see. So just to recap, especially for those of you who are new here, I got rejected from my dream animation school, Sheridan College, last year of April 2020. It's been a little over a year now since I've received the news, and I just wanted to share with you all today my journey in animation since, and hopefully offer some advice and tips on what to do if you get rejected from your dream art school. But before I begin, I just wanted to start off by sharing the good news that I recently landed my first studio gig in animation, and that I did it without going to art school. I hope that by sharing my progress with you all today, I could perhaps make some of you feel slightly better about not getting into your dream school this time around, and show that there are indeed many other ways of how one can get an art education or land a job in the industry. All right, let's get to it. So first things first, I just want to go through the emotional part of dealing with getting rejected, because that feeling truly sucks, and it's important that we try to acknowledge what's really going on in our heads. So you poured your entire heart out into perfecting your portfolio for months or even years, and throughout this whole process, at least in mine, your anxiety has been through the roof, and you won't stop questioning yourself whether you're good enough to pursue art as a career. But despite all the self-doubt that you've been having, you still somehow managed to, put together something that you're somewhat proud of. And then you pray to the art gods as you click the send button, effectively sealing your fate there and then. And after what feels like a million years of waiting and anticipation, Judgment Day is here, and instead of getting the congratulations that you're hoping for, you see a big fat rejection on your screen. That was basically my story, and to actually make things worse, I was still working full-time as a banker and already had my eyes set on quitting the industry, where I was really banking on the fact that getting into Sheridan would be my ticket out. So this rejection really hit particularly hard for me. But since I'm here making this video right now, I'm here to tell you that I've survived and still made it, and here's the advice that I have when it comes to dealing with rejection. I think it's important to take the time to let yourself process and grieve about the rejection. It is completely okay to feel frustrated, sad, or even angry, because you actually put yourself out there and tried so hard to get what you want. And it's also completely understandable that this rejection feels personal, because this is your art that we're talking about, and the identity of who we are as a person is sometimes inevitably linked to it. I just want to let you know that all of these thoughts and feelings that we're having are super valid, but also please remember that this is not a permanent reflection of your talents or abilities, nor is it the end of your art journey. So just because you're getting rejected now doesn't mean that you're not meant for this craft or industry, because you're going to keep growing as an artist if a career in art or animation is truly what you want. So for me, after I got rejected, I let the feelings sink in for a few weeks when I took the time to process everything. And once I started feeling better, I started to reflect and learn from my own rejection. And that's when I started asking myself questions like, what parts of the portfolio were not as good as expected? What are my weaknesses? How can I improve them? And what can I do better next time? Once I started thinking about all these questions, I was able to have a better sense of direction in terms of what I needed to do in order to move forward and move towards becoming a better artist. So yeah, definitely take the time to digest or reflect on what happened. And as cliche as it sounds, I am a huge believer that every failure that we have in life always presents a great opportunity to learn and reposition yourself and find something that's a better fit for you. That's what I did, and I think it has helped me become not just a better artist, but also a better person. So now that we've gone through the emotional part of dealing with rejection, I'm going to talk about the rest of the steps that I personally took that landed me back on my feet when it comes to my art game. And hopefully these tips will help guide you through the rest of your art journey as well. So set goals for yourself, short-term and long-term. This is essentially your game plan for the next year or even 5 years down the line. I know that life is really unpredictable a lot of times and there are so many changes happening, so that's why it helps to have a clear picture of what you're actually working towards. Ask yourself questions like, where do you want to be in 5 years? What job positions do you see yourself working in? When it comes to animation, do you want to become a storyboard artist, a background designer, a character designer? Your answer to these questions should help guide your learning and career goals. So now that I know that this is where I want to head in the long run, it gets easier because my next goal naturally is to then work towards getting better at the skills that are required of phys dev artists, such as color, lighting, perspective, design. And in order to get better at all of those things that I've just mentioned, I started setting smaller short-term goals for myself, such as taking classes in perspective and getting those 15 hours of homework practice in every week. It's all about breaking down the bigger goals into smaller ones so it becomes more attainable in the present. For those of you who don't know exactly what kind of role or career you'd like to have, that's okay too. It definitely takes time to figure that one out. In that case, I would advise you to think about what you'd like to do in the next few months, basically keeping your goals and plans more short term. Let's say if becoming a better artist is what you'd like to achieve, then start setting goals like I'll study and practice figure drawing 3 hours every day. Just start with something that's really small. All right, step 3, learn. The learning doesn't stop just because you didn't get into the school you wanted. Like I said earlier, if a career in art or animation is truly what you want, it's important to be persistent towards improving your skills as an artist. So the way that I approach this is very much related to the goals that I've set for myself. Since I want to be a phys dev artist in the industry and I'm really into environments, based on the requirements of the job that I know of, it is really important that I get my art fundamentals right. So I started taking paid online classes as CGMA and Brainstorm. The ones that I've taken so far are dynamic sketching, perspective, and digital landscape painting. These classes have been incredibly helpful when it comes to drilling in strong art basics, especially for someone like me who has never ever received a formal art education in my life. If paid classes is not a viable option for you right now, not all hope is lost. There are actually so many free tutorials out there taught by industry artists. For instance, if you want to get better at figure drawing and anatomy, definitely check out Proco on YouTube. And if you want to drill in your perspective skills, drawbox.com is also a really great tool. And these are just some of the names that came on top of my head. Definitely do tons of research because there's so many resources out there for all kinds of art skills. So now that you know what you need to do in order to level up as an artist, what more could you possibly do? Well, there's actually a ton more. And here comes step 4. Connect. So for me, since my goal is to become an artist in the animation industry, it's only fair that I start talking to people to get to know how they started their journeys and to learn from them. Other people might call this networking, which it kind of is, but I really don't like the term networking because it sounds kind of mechanical and inauthentic. Maybe it's just the wording, but anyway. What I did after I got rejected was to start connecting and chatting with other artists and professionals in the industry through LinkedIn or through organizations such as Rise Up or Women in Animation. I find it super helpful to talk to all kinds of people in the industry, even people who are not in art-related positions, such as producers and writers, because ultimately what I'm trying to do here is to just connect with people who share the same interest or passion for animation and to get inspired and motivated through their personal stories. Through the conversations that I've had, I was able to have a better sense of what kind of work or role I'd be interested in, and actually got a lot of advice when it comes to how to improve my portfolio and get into the industry that way. So actually, if you're not sure about what you would like to specialize in or pivot into as an artist, definitely hit people up and get to know more about them, because it'll give you so much more insight into the craft itself as well as the industry. This advice also applies to people who are trying to reapply to art schools, because it never ever hurts to start learning and building those connections with people who are already professionals in industry or in art and could inspire you when it comes to what to do with your school or career. So now that you've taken the time to set your goals, learn and get better at art, and are talking to people in the field, it's time to reevaluate whether going to a traditional art school is still something you'd like to do. Which brings us to step 5. Reapply. So to reapply or not, that's a really important question, and honestly my answer to that is it just really depends on your existing goals and resources. For myself, I decided not to reapply because I already have a bachelor's degree and knew what I needed to do art education-wise or portfolio-wise in order to get me that industry job. I feel like I'm already kind of late to the game, so I didn't want to spend another year focusing on applying to new schools when I could better spend that time learning the actual craft while connecting to professionals in the industry. Obviously, I don't want to speak for everyone, but let's say if you're young and fresh out of high school and want to pursue animation as a career, maybe learning in a more structured and disciplined environment would actually be more beneficial for you. And in that case, reapplying to schools would be a good idea. Also, if you are an international student, definitely assess your situation, because with visas and everything, you definitely need a bachelor's degree for certain countries, so definitely look into that. When it comes down to it, it all really depends on how self-motivated you are as a student, artist, or person. If you're still really confused about your decision with whether or not you should reapply, I would also recommend this flowchart made by Lauren Penpinto. It basically helps people figure out whether they should go to art school or not based on their current situation and financial resources. I have linked it down below, and let me know if you guys find it helpful. Alright, this video is getting long. Thank you so much if you have stayed throughout the entire thing. At the end of the day, getting rejected from anything really sucks. But it is important to remember that there is a lot for all of us to be proud of here, because applying to art schools and making a portfolio for it means you're actually taking action into realizing the goals you set for yourself in your career and life. And it takes so much courage and strength to pursue something you feel passionate about. So truly, truly don't be too hard on yourself. Before I bounce, if you really enjoyed this video and want to follow my journey in art and animation, please like and subscribe, as I will be posting more content on things like how to work in animation as an international student, or reveal which studio I'm going to be working for. So definitely stay tuned if you're interested. Also, please feel free to message me or comment down below if you have any additional questions about anything that I've mentioned today. I will try my best to answer all of them. Thank you so much for watching this video, and see you next time.